بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد. As it has been advertised, the title of this lecture is How the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt with the non-Muslims. There are two extremes in this issue with the Muslims, as there are extremes in everything. There are those people who go overboard in the way that they love. People go overboard in the way that they hate. They love people too much and they compromise the rules and regulations of Islam. Some people hate people so much that they can't acknowledge and accept the truth from them. Extremes. So being a group of people who Allah Azza wa Jal from His hikmah legislated that we read Surah Al-Fatiha in every prayer. Janazah, Eid, Jummah, Sunnah, Fard, every prayer. We read Surah Al-Fatiha, the greatest surah of the Qur'an. And it is the statement, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. The Sirat al-Mustaqim is the middle way, it's the balance. Don't love anyone too much and don't hate anyone too much. You have to be balanced. So when it comes to how the Nabi dealt with non-Muslims, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are two extremes. There are those people who look at non-Muslims and they don't recognize and they don't acknowledge that those are human beings that have a right, and they have the haqq of hearing the da'wah, and they have a certain way that the Nabi used to deal with them. And then the other extreme is the one who raises the non-Muslim above the plateau that Islam has put him at. He makes shirk with Allah. So you find some Muslims, they're very critical of the Muslims. And when it comes to non-Muslims, they raise non-Muslims up. Especially, and I have to say this, especially people who have inferiority complexes. They look at European Muslims, or European people, white people, and they see them as being better than them. We have to be balanced. The Nabi dealt with the non-Muslims in a just way. So I'm not going to come here and just give you some examples about how he dealt with non-Muslims. I'm going to do something, inshallah, that is a little bit more informative than that. We're going to talk about how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt with the non-Muslims who were his enemies. Not just a regular non-Muslim, a non-Muslim who was not against him, like his uncle, his grandfather. His uncle Abu Talib was not against him. Abdul Muttalib was not against him. And he dealt with them a certain way. We're not going to talk about that. We want to talk about how the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt with people who were his enemies. People who wanted not only to see harm done to him, they wanted to see his ultimate demise. So if you can see how he dealt with them, then clearly the way that he dealt with regular non-Muslims who were not hostile to him, clearly it was even in a better way. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. There are a number of ayat that Allah described the Nabi's character, many, like the one we mentioned from Surah An-Najm, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. You, Muhammad, you're on a high level, exalted level of character. Allah commanded the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَخُذِ الْعَفُوَ. وَخُذِ الْعَفُوَ. Take it easy and pardon and forgive them. وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. People who do wrong to you, Ya Muhammad, make it afu, pardon them, let them go. And command and instruct the people to do those things that are universally acceptable. And turn away from the ignorant ones. Those people who are the jahilin, turn away from them. Don't repay ignorance with ignorance. Allah Ta'ala told the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَظًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. It was a rahmah from Allah, a mercy from Allah on you, Ya Muhammad, that you were easy and gentle with these people. If you were rough and tough with them, they would run away from you. The father, if you're rough and tough with your children, your daughter, the way she's growing, your son, the way that they're growing, they're dealing with a lot of challenges. If you're rough and tough with them, and you're not trying to understand their mentality and deal with them, they're going to run away from you and you're going to break it. Allah told the Nabi that. It's a rahmah from Allah that you were easy with these people. If you were rough and tough with them, they would have run away and dispersed from you because it's natural. So he was gentle with the people. Ayat, meaning ayat. Allah told the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you except as a rahmah to all of the alameen. I told you people what hikmah means in this religion. It's wisdom, but it means putting things in the proper place. Knowing what to say, when to say, and how to say it. Sometimes hikmah means being quiet. Sometimes it means being tough. Sometimes it means being soft. Allah is al-Hakim. Allah said about the Nabi, we sent you as a rahmah to the alameen. Pay attention. I want you to leave understanding this new concept in your religion. We say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. What does that mean? The Lord of all the worlds. Al-Alameen. There is Allah over his throne. Allah. Everything else in creation is Al-Alameen. Whatever you can think of. The jinn, the angels, the ocean, the heavens, Bani Adam, the animals. Everything you can think of. Allah and everything other than Allah is Al-Alameen. The Rabbul Alameen. Allah told the Nabi, we sent you as a rahmah to the alameen. He's a rahmah to the insects, to the animals. He's a rahmah to the fish. He's a rahmah to the elderly. He's a rahmah to the youngsters. He's a rahmah to the woman. He's a rahmah to the one who is ignorant. He's a rahmah to the youth. Rahmah to the alameen. Allah said in this ayah. Even objects that are not even created with a soul. One of the companions came, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to make a mimbar for you. This companion, he was a najjar, a carpenter. He wanted to offer his skills for the masjid, for Islam. He said, I want to make a mimbar for you because this mimbar that you have is old, it's not good. The Nabi said, okay. The man made the mimbar. So they put the new mimbar in front of the masjid where it belonged, and the old mimbar, they put it over there in the corner. When the Jummah khutbah came, the Nabi started talking to the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and lo and behold, the people started hearing a voice going, The Nabi looked, the people looked. He walked over to that old piece of wood and he started rubbing it, and he said to the people, the mimbar is missing me. And it calmed down. Now this hadith shows the Muslim has to defend the Nabi. The Muslim who has a soul has to love the Nabi. But it goes to show he's a rahmah even to the piece of wood that has no ruh. He was with his companion sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. The camel came, put his mouth by the Nabi and started talking. The Nabi said, whose camel is this? The man said, it's my camel, Ya Rasulullah. The Nabi said, this camel is complaining to me that you overburden it, you beat it, and you don't feed it enough. Fear Allah. The man let the camel go. He's a rahmah to the animals. Now the point here is, if the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had rahmah on a piece of wood, he had rahmah on a camel, he had rahmah in telling us about the lady who was a prostitute, akramakumullah, and she gave the water to the dog and she went to the Jannah. That's telling the people even a dog has rights. If he's a rahmah to all of these issues, what about Bani Adam? When Allah said in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا Bani Adam. We have honored Bani Adam. Even those kuffar. The man is standing up with his head to the sky. One companion had a fight with another companion. He punched him in his face. When the Nabi heard about it, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, la tadribu fil wajh, finna Allah khalaqa Adam ala suratihi. When you get into these skirmishes, don't hit people in the face. Allah created Adam in his image, created him in the image of Adam. So out of respect for Adam, you shouldn't punch people in the face. He honored Bani Adam, whether they're Muslims or non-Muslims. So today's talk, how did the Nabi deal with his enemies? Not the non-Muslim, his enemies who wanted to kill him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before I give you these examples, ikhwani, let me tell you. If a person once in his life, just one time, in the duration of his life, his enemy does something to him, and he has the ability to exact revenge against his enemy, but he says, you can go free. If he does that one time, every culture, every society is going to say, that is a noble person who did that. He's noble. It didn't happen once with the Nabi. It happened a lot, to the point where we can actually say, it's his sunnah to let people go, to overlook the mistakes of people, to be easy with them. I don't know and I don't understand this mentality of these Muslims who want to blow up planes with innocent people, blow up the underground, blow up the tube, blow up and kill innocent people. My mother, Miss Mamie, my wife comes to my house in America. My mother is not going to open that door until she tells my wife, hey, some people are coming. She's going to tell the kuffar, the people, her visitors, stay right there. Don't come and tell me Palestine, Iraq. My mother doesn't have anything to do with that. She's on the bus and you killed my mother. I don't understand that mentality of those people. Shabab and other than that. I don't understand. Al-Qaeda and other than that. I say it. Any young Muslim, if you're around people talking that nonsense to you, then you need to run away from that person the way you would run away from a hungry lion if he came into this room. How was the Nabi with his enemies? Let us look. I mentioned these ayat that Allah Azza wa Jal sent the Nabi as a rahmah to the world. 169 times the word rahmah has been used in the Qur'an in one shape, form, or fashion. There's only one ayat of the Qur'an, only one, talking about cutting off the hand. Only one. The people want to say that Muslims are barbaric. The religion of Muhammad is barbaric. He loves to shed blood. These people are victims of their own ignorance. People who believe that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a warmonger, that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was some crazy madman. They are the victims of their own ignorance, victims of the media. Anyone with sincerity, non-Muslim here today, with sincerity, he came and he read the story of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even if he didn't embrace Islam, he will have no choice except to say, this man was noble. This man was a noble man. So let us look at this issue. One of the ways we see how the Nabi dealt with the non-Muslims sallallahu alaihi wasallam during his time, and there are many examples, are the many verses of the Qur'an that describe to us his condition when looking at them. Many ayat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Qur'an, فَلَا تَذْهَبْ نَفْسُكَ حَسَرَاتٍ عَلَيْهِمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ. Ya Muhammad, don't become overwhelmed with grief because of these people. They're not accepting Islam. Don't allow yourself to become overwhelmed with hasarat. Verily, Allah is knowledgeable about what they're doing. That goes to show that my mother who's a non-Muslim, your mother who's a non-Muslim, your relatives, people you work with, non-Muslims, you should have some feeling of sadness and sorrow for their condition. Allah told the Nabi, don't allow yourself to become overwhelmed with grief, which shows he had a disposition. He wasn't happy for the condition of his people. Allah mentioned in the Quran, فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِئٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِن لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. It may be, Ya Muhammad, that you will worry yourself to death that they don't believe in this message. Not just worry. It may be that you may worry yourself until you die, that they don't believe in this message. When he was giving dawah to his people, he just said to them, قُولُوا لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ تُفْلِحُوا. Just say La ilaha illallah, you're going to be okay. And when they rejected that, he wasn't happy. He wasn't like some of the Muslims. They give dawah. The man is thirsty. He comes and he's thirsty for knowledge. He comes in from the desert. He's thirsty. You have a nice tray of water, nice tray, and a nice glass. Zamzam water even. You're giving him dawah. You have the water. He comes, oh, I'm thirsty. Give me Islam. Give me Islam. Look at my condition. I don't know where stinja. I don't know where Allah is. I'm drinking. I'm getting high. I don't know what I'm doing. And the Muslim just takes the glass and goes in his face. And he says, you wasn't thirsty anyway. You can't give dawah like that. Blowing people up, killing people. Give him dawah and he doesn't accept. You say, well, you can go to hell for all I care. The Nabi wasn't like that. It may be that you will fret yourself to death. Many ayat. وَلَا يَحْزُنْكَ الَّذِينَ يُسَارِعُونَ فِي الْكُفْرِ. Don't become sad as a result of those people who are quick and they're going into disbelief. Don't be sad. So if you want to know the condition of the Nabi and how he dealt with non-Muslims, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, first point, he used to be physically, mentally anguished at their condition. He wasn't happy at their condition, with their condition. He wanted Islam for everybody, especially his people. But for everybody, because he's the Nabi for all people. Another example, how did the Nabi deal with the non-Muslims, the enemies that he had? He was in a hostile environment. How did he deal with them? He used to make dawah to them, and he spared no efforts to go to them to give them dawah. You in the university, give some Islamic literature out, give some Islamic education to the university, the Muslim community here. What are the people doing to expose Islam to the greater community? And why do we always have to be on the back foot, apologizing? Every time something happens, 9/11, whatever, that's the only time we come out, and we come out apologizing. The Nabi had mercy on them in that he used to make himself available, and he used to give them dawah, and he used to make dua for people who wanted his demise. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, what was collected by the Imam Muslim, he said that some people came and they said, Ya Rasulullah, the mushrikeen are doing this and doing that, doing this. So the people sat up, the Muslims getting ready for the Nabi to make dua. The man said, make dua against them, make dua. Your dua is mustajab. Allah will answer your dua. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told that man and the rest of the community then and now. He says sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إني لم أبعث لعانا وإنما بعثت رحمة. I have not been sent to curse people. La'natullah on you, la'natullah on you, la'natullah. May Allah curse you, curse you. He said, I've been sent as a rahmah. There was a tribe during that time, the companion of Tufail ibn Amr radiallahu anhu. He said that his people were around a tribe called Ados. Ados used to catch you and they will burn you alive. They will catch you and they will chop you to pieces. He came and he made it. He was saved. Ya Rasulullah, you're not going to believe what Dos did. They did this, they did that, they did that. Make dua against the Dos. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam raised his hand and he said, Allahumma ihdi Dosan wa'ti bihim. Oh Allah, guide the tribe of Dos and bring them to me. Allah answered this dua. The same thing happened with another tribe, Thaqif. They were doing all kinds of atrocities and committing all kinds of crimes against their people, where they lived. Same thing. Someone from their tribe came, Ya Rasulullah, Thaqif. They went beyond all bounds and what's acceptable, even in the history of the Arabs. We never saw anyone doing like this to their enemy and to their adversary. Make dua against those people of Thaqif. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam raised his hand. He said, Allahumma ihdi Thaqifan wa'ti bihim. Guide those people of Thaqif and bring them to me. They became Muslims. Too many examples, ikhwani. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu. Tomorrow we're going to do, I think today, a panel discussion about defending the Nabi. Abu Huraira, his mother used to curse the Nabi, used to say terrible things about the Nabi, atrocious things, the mother. Abu Huraira, one time after hearing it, he got sick and tired of it. He went to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told the Prophet what happened. The Prophet saw him, he was crying. He said, "What's the matter, Abu Huraira?" He said, "My mother keeps talking about you and I can't take it anymore." The Nabi said, "Don't worry, go back to your mother." Abu Huraira went back to his mother. When he was about to enter the house, his mother said, "Abu Huraira, stay at the door, don't come in." He heard the water stopped. She came out and she took the shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Question here now is, Abu Huraira's mother is talking bad about the Nabi. It affected him. He cried about that. The Muslim can't be indifferent if they draw pictures about the Nabi that are disrespectful. The Muslim can't say, "That's not my problem." You have to feel some way about that or something's wrong with you. But now the question and the challenge is, what do you do? Did Abu Huraira punch his mother in the face? Did Abu Huraira poke his mother in the eyes? Took his mother and do a wrestling move and hit her head on the ground? He cried, went to the Nabi, and this is the point. The Nabi made dua for her. He could have said, "Oh Allah, punish her the way you punish Abu Lahab's wife. وَامْرَأَتُ حَمَّلَةُ الْحَطَبِ," because of how she went beyond the boundaries and what's acceptable. There are ample examples of how the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua with and for those non-Muslims who are his adversaries. What do you think is the case with a person who's respectful? The little Jewish boy who used to take care of him. The Jewish boy was his khadim. Jewish boy was about to die. The Nabi went to him and said, "Hey boy, accept Islam." Now you can imagine this. Every day the boy goes and takes care of the Nabi. He goes back to the mother and the father who were Jews, and he has nothing but good to say. Muhammad was gentle with me. Muhammad was loving to me. Muhammad was better to me than you are. Whether the parents accept Islam or not, the boy has nothing negative to say about the Sunnah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about Islam. If the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't pay the boy, if the Nabi tried to molest the boy, a'udhu billah, it's just an example. If the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was slapping the boy, abusing the boy go back to the mother and say, "You know, this Islam is a problem. You know, this Islam is a big problem." So the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with those people who are tough and rough against them, he used to give them dawah, and he used to sallallahu alaihi wasallam make dua for them. In addition to that, there is an example that I believe exceeds all of those examples that I just gave you. There's a guy that you guys should know, you brothers and sisters should know historically. His name is Abdullah ibn Ubay as-Sulul. He was the chief of the munafiqeen, the hypocrites. This guy right here, this dude right here, he was a problem. He was the chief of the munafiqeen, not just the munafiq. Allah said about the hypocrites, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. They're in the lowest part of the hellfire because of the danger they pose to the ummah. They're here, for an example, you think they're Muslims, but they go back and report to the non-Muslims and they lie on people. They get people in trouble. They don't really believe. Back then, they were a big problem. You think they're Muslims, but they're not Muslims. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this man used to make problems for the Nabi. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would ride his donkey and the munafiqeen would be sitting. These people are supposed to be Muslims. The Nabi would come to sit with them. This man would say, "Hey, Muhammad." He didn't call him Rasulullah, Nabi Allah. He didn't even call him by his kunya, respect. Ya Aba Qasim. He said, "Ya Muhammad, get out of here with your donkey. Your donkey stink, and you stink." The companion was with the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Wallahi, la himaru Rasulillahi sallallahu alaihi wasallam atharu minka wa min ajdadik." He said, "The donkey of Rasulullah smells better than you and your forefathers. The Nabi told him, don't say that. The point is, this man was a problem. Muslims used to go to make jihad. This man, they're going to make jihad. He would make disruptions with the community at critical times, dangerous times. And the ayat of the Qur'an are many in his regard. The chief of the munafiqeen. How was the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the kuffar? That's the point here. When this man died, all of the problems he made, this guy was a mujrim. This guy was a criminal. When he died, his son came and said, Ya Rasulullah, let me have some of your clothes, a piece of your clothing, so I can bury it with my father for barakah. And barakah. Naam, wallahi, if the Nabi was here right now, or if we found his clothes was something, we would take it and we would make barakah from it. It's permissible. But any other sheikh other than that, wallahi, we're not going to take his clothes. I don't care who he is. Sheikh, glow in the dark. When he comes, he drinks the water. And when he gets up, he leaves the water. You come and you taking it. No, only with the Nabi, only. As for people right now, don't do that with people, no matter how much you respect him. Ya Rasulullah, let me have your clothes, something from your clothing for my father. The boy knew his father was a munafiq. The boy knew all of those ayahs of the Qur'an. The Nabi gave him his clothing. Time for the janazah. The Nabi set the body up, he got ready to pray. Abu Umar came and said, Ya Rasulullah, don't pray over this dude. Don't pray over him. Munafiq. He said, why? I'm going to pray over him. Sent as a rahmah. Umar said, but Allah said in the Qur'an, Ya Rasulullah, Allah said in the Qur'an, in tastaghfir lahum aw la tastaghfir lahum, lan yaghfir Allahu lahum. If you ask for their forgiveness or you don't ask for their forgiveness, even if you ask for their forgiveness 70 times, Allah is never going to forgive them. The Nabi said to Umar radiallahu anhu, Allah said, if I ask 70 times, I'm going to ask 71 times. He got ready to pray. Allah sent down some more ayat from Surah At-Tawbah, ayah 84. It hadn't been revealed at that time. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in that ayat, لا تصلي على أحد منهم مات أبدا ولا تقوم على قبره. Don't pray on any of them if they were to die. Don't pray on any of these munafiqeen, because the Nabi knew all of them. He knew every munafiq. Don't pray on any of them if they die. And don't stand over his grave. And he backed up and he left. But the point here, and the lesson here, from the lessons, look how he dealt with that criminal. And again, Ikhwani, I'm telling you, some of you know and some of you don't know. If you knew the history of this munafiq, my head, this hat wants to pop off and say, wow, didn't it be dealt with that man like that? Again, I don't know how to drive in the UK because the steering wheel is on the other side and the car is on the other side of the road, so I'm always getting into accidents. I have to take public transportation. Anybody, I don't care how many, I don't care how big. If one of them disrespects my queen, my kid, I'm ready to deal with them. And I know I'm giving dawah, I have to be careful, but I can't handle anyone disrespecting my queen or my mother, like I told you earlier. Someone come and disrespect his mother. He said, Hoyo, go ahead, you fight. I know you're 60 years old, Hoyo, you deal with it. No, you better deal with that. So I can't imagine, how did the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam deal with that man like that? Knowing the history of that man. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have not sent you, Ya Muhammad, except a rahmah to all of the worlds. How did the Nabi deal with the non-Muslims? In a hostile environment, people who were against him and they wanted evil for him, he used to physically, mentally be upset, anxiety. He used to give them dawah and he used to make dua. And he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, next point, he used to let them go. He used to let them go. And what was collected by the Imam al-Bukhari, a Muslim, the companion Jabir ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him. He said that they were on a trip traveling and the Nabi became tired. We have some Muslims, they believe that the Prophet was created from the nur of Allah. He's from the nur of Allah. Some Muslims believe that the Nabi knows the ilm al-ghayb. Some people believe that the Nabi never died. And if you tell them, you're lying, you're making a mistake. Don't say those things. Only Allah knows the ilm al-ghayb. The Nabi died. The Nabi died. But he's living in the hayat of the barzakh right now, just like my great-grandmother and just like everybody else. He's in the barzakh, alive. But he died. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What's the point? He became tired because he was a human being. قُلْ إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ مِثْلُكُمْ يُوحَى إِلَيَّ. I'm a human being just like you people, but revelation comes to me. Don't go overboard in the Nabi. He's a human being. He became tired. So the people rested. He, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, took his sword off, tied it on a tree. He laid down, and he went to sleep. While he was sleeping, a Bedouin non-Muslim came and snuck up on the Nabi, took his sword off of the tree, unsheathed it, and then he was standing over the Nabi over him. The Prophet woke up on his back, incapacitated, in a position of weakness. The man said, Ya Muhammad, who's going to help you now? Who's going to help you? The Nabi is on his back, weaponless. Who's going to help you? The Nabi, he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah, Allah, Allah. The man dropped the sword. I don't know why, I don't know how. The man dropped the sword. The Nabi picked it up and jumped up. He has the sword. He said, now, Bedouin, who's going to help you? The Bedouin said, hey, Muhammad, take it easy. Muhammad, take it easy. The Nabi said to the man, Atashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anni abduhu wa rasuluhu. Do you bear witness there's no God worthy of worship but Allah, and I'm his Nabi and his Rasul? The man said, no, I don't believe that. وَلَكِنِّي أَتَعَاهُدْ أَنْ لَا أُقَاتِلْ ضِدِّكَ وَلَا أُقَاتِلْ مَعَكُمْ يُقَاتِلُونَكَ. I don't believe that, but I take an oath. I won't fight against you, nor will I help any people who fight against you. What did the Nabi do? Just a few minutes ago, that man was going to put the light out of the Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just a few minutes ago, the man said, go ahead, you can go. The man went to his people. When he went to his people, he told them what happened. Those people embraced Islam. Those people embraced Islam. And here comes the Muslim, Amr Bakr Zayd. Here comes the Muslim, young sister, mashallah, from Somalia, mashallah. The young Muslim from wherever she is or he's from. And he wants to get on the internet, and he becomes what he calls himself, the lyrical terrorist. Wants to travel to some Muslim land to make jihad and blow up people indiscriminately. Muslims. The Nabi let the man go. The man went to his people and told them the story. They embraced Islam. So him, the Nabi, letting people go? Too many examples. Too many examples. One of those examples is what happened with the people of Uhud. Hey, guys, pay attention. Pay attention now. In the battle of Uhud, 70 people were killed. 70 of the companions. 70 of the companions. 64 were from the Ansar, and the rest were from the Muhajirin. From the Muhajirin was the uncle of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Sayyid of the Shuhada. What's his name? Hamza. Hamza. He's the uncle of the Nabi. And the Prophet loved him tremendously. Not only did they kill him, but they mutilated him. They cut his ears off. They cut his nose off. They opened up his stomach. They took his intestines out. And they threw his stuff all over the place. They cut this off. When his sister Safiya, the Muslim auntie of the Nabi, came to see it, or the Nabi said, don't let Safiya see it. How's she going to see her brother? Hamza was the man. She loved her brother. The Nabi said, don't let her see it. Now, before I go, I have to make this point. You know, you guys like me, you saw that movie, The Message or The Messenger. It's a nice movie, actually. But that movie, you have to be careful. They showed Hamza was killed. and the person who was playing Hamza is a criminal. So it's not acceptable for anyone to imitate and to look like the companions. The other thing is, the wife of Abu Sufyan, her name was Hind bint Uqba. The movie showed, and there are hadith that said, she, like a mad woman, took his liver out and started eating it. Hey, Ummah al-Islam, listen, that's not true. That's not true. That lady became a Muslim. And some of us come from areas where they're close to Iran and Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh. Some people hate the companions. And some Muslims, stories like this, make them have something against Abu Sufyan, her husband, something against his son, Muawiyah. Those companions are in Jannah, and they're the best of this ummah. Those companions are better than the Mahdi. The third thing I want you people to leave this place today, you know the Mahdi, if the Mahdi came back today, the Mahdi is going to be put peace in the land just as there's fitna all over the place. He's going to solve Somalia's problem if he came back today. Palestine, Iraq, Syria, he's going to fill up the world with peace and justice. Listen to me. Billahi, wallahi, tallahi. That companion who came in the masjid, he was sitting with the people, he stood up, he was a Bedouin. He went over there, he exposed his aura. He exposed his aura, sat down, and urinated in the masjid and put najas on it on the floor. That companion is better than the Mahdi. The lady from the companion that made zina, and she was stoned to death, better than the Mahdi. Bilal ibn Rabah, better than the Mahdi. The Nabi told the people sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا تسبوا أصحابي فوالذي نفسي بيده لو أنفق أحدكم مثل أحد ذهب ما بلغ مد أحدهم ولا نصيفا. Don't curse my companions. Don't curse any of them. I swear by the one who my soul is in his hands, Allah, if one of you were to spend the likes of Mount Uhud in gold, any of you were to spend the like of Mount Uhud in gold, you would never be able to reach a mud of what they spent, or half of a mud. A mud is when Abu Bakr came, he took 2 handfuls of rice, 2 handfuls of dates, 2 handfuls of raisins, salt, and he gave it fi sabilillah. If you spend all of Uhud, it wouldn't equal those 2 handfuls. The Mahdi comes later. He wasn't a companion. Anyway, Hamza radiallahu anhu, his liver wasn't devoured by that lady. My wife, she's on a lesser level of iman and taqwa and knowledge than that lady, Hind bint Uqba. My wife would never go to someone who dead, someone who was killed, and then eat his liver, because she's more civilized than that. She doesn't hate anyone to that degree. So how do you think a lady who became a companion is like that? In the day of Uhud, 70 of them were killed. Some time went by, and then the issue came, the conquest of Mecca. When the Muslims when they were riding to Mecca, one of the Muslim men, when the ayat of the Qur'an was revealed, فَإِنْ آقَبْتُمْ فَآقِبُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا أُوقِبْتُمْ بِهِ. If you people were oppressed, you Muslims, if you people were fought against and you were harmed and you were hurt, then hurt them back similar to what they did to you. Meaning if they fought you in the sacred precincts of Mecca, fight them back. If they fought you in the sacred months, fight them back. It doesn't mean if they kill your innocents, you go and kill the innocent. People use this ayat. If you have been harmed, then harm them back with similar to what they harmed you. Muslims use that ayat to say they killed our innocent, which they do. They killed Muslims in Iraq. They're killing Muslims all over the world. But this ayat doesn't mean if they kill your innocent, you can go and kill their innocent. How can you understand that? The Nabi came after sending Khalid ibn Walid. He went ahead. When Khalid arrived to the place, he just started killing everyone. He killed women, children, old people. When the Nabi finally came, he saw those people strewn about dead. He put his hands up like this and he said, Allahumma inni bari'un mimma sana'a Khalid. Allah, I'm free from what Khalid did here today. He freed himself from the action of his brother. He didn't free himself and say his brother was a kafir. He didn't totally free himself from the Muslim, but from that action, the Imam has to come forward and say, I'm free of that. The religion is free. We can't accommodate that or justify that nonsense. The meaning of the ayat, if they harm you, harm them back with what they harmed you with. It means if they fight you in Mecca, fight them back. If they fight you in the sacred month, fight them back. Hypothetically speaking, someone, non-Muslim, he raped a Muslim girl. That girl is the daughter of someone. So the man takes that ayat. If you've been harmed, then harm them back similar to what they harmed you. Is anyone in his right mind going to believe I can go and rape his daughter? No, it doesn't mean that. Again, it means if they fight you in the sacred months and so forth and so on. Anyway, when this ayat was revealed, one of the companions, when he heard that, he said, Wallahi, la Quraysh ba'd al-yawm. I swear by Allah, we're going to deal with Quraysh today for what they did to Hamza. And then he started saying to the Muslims, Hamza, Hamza. And the Muslims started getting agitated. And they were like, we're going to get these Quraysh people. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Kufu an al-qawm illa arba'a. Nasbir wala nu'aqib. Hey, leave these people alone, these people of Mecca. Leave them. Leave these people alone. Only deal with 4 people from the, if you find 4, deal with them. He said we're going to be patient and we're not going to get retribution. We're not going to fight them back. We're not going to do what they did to us. We're not going to fight them in Mecca. He cooled everybody out. But he said if you find these 4, then deal with them. Now I want you people to pay attention to this. You brothers, married brothers, you young brothers who have sisters and stuff like that. Stop fighting your sister. Stop fighting your sister. The sister has to stop disrespecting her older brother. The Nabi says, stop. Don't do anything except 4 people. If you find one of them holding on to the curtain of the Kaaba, then get them. Those 4 people, they were poets from the time of al-Jahiliyyah. They used to make poetry about the mahasin of the wives of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They used to describe their mahasin. They didn't know anything about the wives of the Prophet because his women were totally covered up in jilbab and niqab. They didn't go with their faces open. And when they used to travel, they used to be in a hodij. Hodij is what they used to carry, the canopy. She would be inside there. And if you or any companion wanted to ask a question, they were from behind the hijab. So when those 4 poets started putting poetry out amongst the Arabs, Muhammad's wife is this and that and that, the Nabi said, everybody in Mecca is free. These people who did this, they persecuted me, they killed some of my companions, they did that. Everyone can go. But these 4 people, if you caught one of them hanging on to the curtain of the Kaaba, kill them. Which goes to show, the Nabi, he had izzah, he had ghaira, he was jealous for his women. He didn't allow his wife to go to the local supermarket and her hair is all over the place. Anybody can see what she looks like. He didn't play that stuff. He told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ikhwani, la yadkhul al-jannah ad-dayyuth. The dayyuth man will not enter into the Jannah. Who's the dayyuth? He's the man who, his wife, his daughter, women who he is responsible for, they come and they go how they want. They dress how they want. She has a boyfriend. He doesn't say anything. That's a dayyuth. The Nabi wasn't like that. Some companion came to the Prophet's house. He knocked on the door, and no one came. The man looked inside of the keyhole, and the Prophet saw him looking in the keyhole. The Prophet picked up some iron thing and he started running to the door. The man saw the Nabi is coming and he doesn't look like he's playing. The man backed up. The Prophet opened the door. He said, if you would have kept your eye there, I'd have poked your eye out looking at my women. What's inside this house is haram for you. So the point, ikhwani, about the people of Uhud, they said, we're going to pay these people back for what they did to Hamza. The Nabi said, no, leave these people alone, except 4 people. They went beyond the limit. Part of defending the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, guys, is defending his wives. There are a group of people call themselves Muslims who say that Aisha was a Zaniya. People of Iraq and Iran. No way in the world, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, no way in the world can I accept that guy as someone who is a Muslim. If he said that about my mother, who's my biological mother, my mother is a Zaniya, I'm going to deal with anybody who says that. And my mother's not even a Muslim yet. May Allah guide Miss Mamie. Come on, guys. May Allah guide Miss Mamie. Oh, Allah guide Miss Mamie. That's my mother's a kafir. What do you think is the case with the Nabi's wives? النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم وأزواجه أمهاتهم. The Nabi is closer to the believers than their own selves. The Prophet loves your son more than you. The Prophet loves your wife more than you. The Prophet loves your daughter more than you. He's closer to the believers than their own selves. And his wives are their mothers. Are you serious? What's the shahid? When the Nabi didn't excuse those 4 people, it goes to show, ikhwani, part of defending him, our Nabi, is that you have to have honor for your mother. Some people may be sitting out there and say, that guy, why is he saying Iran, Iraq? I don't care what you think. Did you hear what I said? Let me say this so I don't bite my tongue for anyone. Any human being who said that Aisha was a Zaniya, you're an enemy of Allah. You're an enemy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you as a Muslim on the Sunnah, you can't acquiesce concerning that. You. Someone said that about your real mother. You going to tolerate that? They said that Aisha radiallahu anha, the Nabi would go out for jihad. Out of the front door, he would go for jihad. And Aisha would go and open up the back door. And there was a line of Yahuds. One would come and make zina, and she wouldn't make ghusl. Then the second, then the third, then the fourth. That's what these people believe. No, the Nabi says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, get these 4 if you find them. Lastly, ikhwani, and there are a lot of examples. Lastly, how did the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam taslimin kathira? How did he deal with non-Muslims? How did he deal with them? Those people who were against him, like that man Thumama ibn Uthal. Thumama ibn Uthal, he was the chief of a tribe called Bani Hanif. The Nabi sent some of his companions out of Medina to do a reconnaissance, to make sure that there was no imminent threat towards Medina. He was tying his camel, being responsible. So those men, when they went out there, they found this man Thumama. Thumama used to kill the Muslims from his tribe who became Muslims. He used to threaten his community. He was a powerful man. He was in charge of Bani Hanif. When the companions caught him, they brought him to the Masjid. They tied him up to the pillar inside the Masjid. They went and said, Ya Rasulullah, we found Thumama. Thumama killed a lot of people. The Nabi came. He's tied up in the Masjid. The Nabi said, Ya Thumama, Kayfa ajiduka? Hi, what's your situation, Thumama? Thumama said, Ya Muhammad, pay attention. Ya Muhammad, in taqtulni, taqtul dha damin. Wa in tun'im, tun'im ala shakir. Wa in aradta al-mal, fas'al ma badalaka. Ya Muhammad, if you kill me, you'll kill someone who's very important. If you let me go, I'll be happy. If you want ransom, I'll give you all the money. Just ask what you want. The Nabi let him go. He just said, feed Thumama, and he left. Thumama was in the masjid for a whole day. The Muslims were bringing him food. They brought him some milk. He drank the milk, and he went like, They brought him a second one. He drank it. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. The next day, the Nabi came. Same question. Ya Thumama, what's your situation? Thumama said, Ya Muhammad, like I told you yesterday, You kill me, you kill someone important. If you let me go, I'll be happy. If you want ransom, ask for what you want. Feed Uthaymin. They gave him 7 bowls of milk again. The third day, Ya Uthaymin, what's your situation? Ya Muhammad, like I told you the last 2 days, you kill me, you kill someone important. You let me go, I'll be happy. You want money? Give whatever you want. The Nabi said, let Uthaymin go. They untied him. Uthaymin left. The Nabi was sitting with the people. Lo and behold, Uthaymin came back through the door, dripping with water. His clothes were wet because he made ghusl. He came in walking. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. And then he said, pay attention. Ya Rasulallah. Prior to that, he was saying, Ya Muhammad, Ya Muhammad. He said, Ya Rasulallah. There was never a face that I hated more than your face, and now your face is the most beloved face to me. Ya Rasulallah. There was never a city that I hated more than this city. Now your city is the most beloved city to me. Ya Rasulallah. There was never a religion that I hated more than your religion. Now your religion is the most beloved religion to me. He said, sit down, Uthaymin. Bring Uthaymin some food. They brought him a bowl of milk. The Nabi gave him the milk. He drank it. They gave him another bowl. He said, I'm full. The Nabi started smiling. They said, why are you smiling, Ya Rasulullah? He said, verily, the believer eats for 1 intestine, and the kafir and the munafiq eats for 7. When Uthaymin was a non-Muslim, he just thought about me, myself, and I. But once he accepts Islam, he knows in the masjid are poor people. It's not just me, myself, and I. Ummi, hoya. Buy me some trainers, sneakers, cost 200 pounds. Yeah, what are you talking about, trainers, 200 pounds? I have 5 other kids. Now I'm going to end with this story about Uthaymin. But what was the issue that affected Uthaymin, brothers? It was the role of the masjid. When Uthaymin was in that masjid, he saw the Muslims coming to Salat 5 times a day. Salatul Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha. And he's looking. The Nabi is Hakim. Put things in the right place. Uthaymin is intelligent. Uthaymin is a leader. He's not a copycat. He's not a follower. He's a leader. Bilal, before the Nabi would pray, he would send Bilal down that row, and he would send Umar down that row. Bilal would start grabbing some of the premier Arabs of Jahiliyyah that Uthaymin knew. Bilal would hit them in the chest, move back, move up, put them in the line, because the Nabi just didn't make salah. Allahu Akbar, and start praying. Umar goes down that way, Bilal goes down that way. And Bilal would hit the Arabs, move back, come up. Look. Uthaymin is looking at that and saying, man, if that black guy was up where I came from and he touched one of us, we would deal with him. But look at these people being patient now. Muhammad brought a religion of universality. Muhammad brought a religion of brotherhood, and look at how they respect him. They don't call him Muhammad. They call him Ya Rasulallah, Ya Nabi Allah, Ya Khalil Allah. So it was easy for Uthaymin to get in line and to be affected by the dawah of the Muslims. Not only the Nabi, but his people. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ikhwani, he was an individual who, he was the Qur'an, as we mentioned earlier, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his dawah was a dawah of hikmah. If you blow people up and you kill people, if you're not truthful, if you're going against this religion, then the non-Muslims are going to say, rightly so, if Muhammad was such a good man, then why are they like that? Why is their country torn to pieces? Why are they going through all of this? One sister, she wears proper hijab. The other sister doesn't wear proper hijab. The other one doesn't wear hijab at all. So the guy who's a non-Muslim, he says, the lady non-Muslim say, which one of these is correct? I go, the other brother go, the other brother go, and we go to meet people that we work with. The lady comes to shake hands. I grab her hand and I shake it robustly. The other brother, he's religious. He puts his thing like that and he shakes like this. And the third one, he gives her the elbow and he shakes like that. The girl says, which one is Islam? And then the fourth one comes and says, With all due respect, I don't shake hands because I don't touch women who are not. She says, Mutashaddid, Wahhabi, terrorist, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab. Where does that come from? Part of it comes from us. We're giving mixed messages. Before he comes, I just want to tell you people something from the bottom of my heart. The depths, the inner recesses of my heart. Anashid, you know, Anashid, Islamic rap, all of these things that is appealing to our youngsters. They want something different from this hip-hop culture and these nasty words. So there are some brothers who are popular. Their skills in the art of poetry and all of that. I totally support that. But I want you guys to always remember the Nabi, every Friday he used to do the khutbah. Every Eid, every time he wanted to address the people, part of what he would say was, Inna khayr al-kalam, kalamullah. The best speech is the speech of Allah. You guys, all of us, we have to return back to the Qur'an. You have to learn how to read the Qur'an. You have to try to memorize the Qur'an. You, new Muslim, revert. It's your job to learn how to do the Qur'an. And don't learn from transliteration. Alhamdulillah, written in English, Alhamdulillah. You have to find someone in this city, Arab, someone who memorized and they know tajweed of the Qur'an. The Arab who has a PhD in here, in Arabic language, Arab, PhD in the language, he's not going to pick up the Qur'an and read it correctly. He's not. If he didn't have a mu'allim to teach him. The Nabi, Allah told him, Allamahu shadidul quwa. He was taught by one who was powerful and mighty, meaning Jibril. Jibril taught the Nabi. Jibril came and said, read. He said, I can't read. Or what am I going to read? Read. I can't read. What I'm going to read? Read. I can't read. What I'm going to read? Jibril told him, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. He taught him what to read and how to read. And when he used to come to teach the Nabi the Quran, the Prophet wanted to memorize, so he used to move his lips real fast, trying to memorize. Allah revealed to him, La tuharrik bihi lisanaka lita'jala bi. Ya Muhammad, don't do that. Don't read real quick, trying to do this. You have to learn how to read the Quran by somebody who knows what he's doing. As for the anashid and this rap and this stuff, it's okay, as long as the brothers stay in the boundaries. And my man, Muslim Bilal, is from those brothers who are in that boundary. My man, Bunu Muhammad, is from those people who are within those boundaries. But because he comes from UK, I'm more on his side and I'm feeling him more than Bunu because he's from the UK. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring up my man, 50 grand, Muslim Bilal. Assalamu alaikum.